Okay, we'll call the meeting to order.
Councilwoman Selby,
Present.
Councilman Karadikini,
Present.
Supervisor Keating, Councilwoman Lukacek,
Not present.
Councilwoman Martin.
Present.
Councilwoman Martin, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we do not have any other preliminary matters tonight, and we do have a public hearing, so I will read off the public hearing, and then we'll open the floor. So notice of the public hearing to the notice of the citizens of the town of Boston. A public hearing will be held on October 5th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. at Boston Town Hall, 8500 Boston State Road, Boston, New York, regarding the use of federal community development funds in the town of Boston. The town of Boston is eligible for a federal community development grant under Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, as amended. The purpose of the hearing is to provide an opportunity for citizens to express community development and housing needs and to discuss possible projects which would benefit low and moderate income persons in the town of Boston. Citizens are urged to attend this meeting to make known their views and or written proposals to the town of Boston's selection of potential projects to be submitted for possible funding by the Federal Community Development Grant Program. The hearing will also present a review of prior community development projects and expenditures and discussion of eligible activities. The meeting room is wheelchair accessible. That those needing special arrangement should call the Boston Town Hall at 716-941-6113 by October 3rd, 2022. And this was dated September 21st, 2022, published September 23rd, 2022, by order of the Town Board, Sandra L. Quinlan, Town Clerk. This institution is an equal opportunity provider and employer. I will open the floor for any public comment.
Jay Jackson, 7964 Back Creek Road. The apparent apathy is disappointing.
Hi, Green. First of all, I have a quick question. Do we have any idea of the amount of monies available through these block grants?
Yes,
Very loud, I'm deaf, you know.
Yeah. So for the community development block grant, the projects this year were the dollar amount was raised to $150,000 per eligible project. In previous years, it was $100,000. This year, because of the cost of materials, labor, and other expenses, that dollar threshold has been increased.
Oh, okay, that's important to know because some of the things that I see, I'll use this microphone here. I can't even hear myself anymore. It's terrible. Some of the things that I think could be kinder, particularly to low income people, even elderly people who can't drive anymore. The access to Tops or CVS, I know the people who have to walk the street to get to these basic amenities. And it would be, and I realize we're not going to put sidewalks in all of the town, but I think we could look to improve access so that people don't have to walk in the street. And with that, I know everybody's going to say, but who will shovel the walk? I don't know what a sidewalk plow costs, but ultimately that's the way to go because screaming about a 90-year-old person who doesn't shovel the walk is ridiculous. So at the bottom, one of the things I'd like to see looked at is making at least the basic necessities of life, groceries, the drugstore, more easily accessed by people who have to walk or push their wheelchairs or whatever. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments? I see a no. So with no other comment, I will close the floor. All right. So moving along to going back to our agenda tonight. So we've covered all of our preliminary matters, item number 1 under the agenda. So item number 2 is regular business. The first item is the correction and adoption of the minutes for the September 21st, 2022 town board meeting. And Councilwoman Cardicchini, would you like to take that item tonight? Councilman. Okay.
I've had an opportunity to review the minutes. I see no errors or omissions. I accept them as written.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicchini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item number 2 under regular business is the consideration of all fund bills. And Councilwoman Martin, would you like to take that item tonight?
Yes, Supervisor. I had a chance to look over the fund bills, and I make a motion to accept the total payables due for on abstract 1 of $114,183.44.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicchini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Item number 3 tonight is the correspondence. We have 3 items of correspondence. All have been received and filed with the town clerk's office. The first item is the sales results for the bond anticipation note, sometimes called as a ban for the water towers. That's been received and filed. Item number 2 is the 2023 tentative budget that has been received and filed. And the item number 3 is the 2023 tentative budget summary sheet, also received and filed. Moving on to new business, requests from the floor. I don't know if there's any other comment, but I'll gladly open up the floor again if there's anyone else who would like to make any public comments. And Legislator Mills, I see you're here tonight, so certainly welcome to have the floor. That one's on.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and good evening, everyone. It's good to be back in the town of Boston. Kind of apologize for being late this year, but downtown, we're dealing with a couple of things like the new stadium, the community benefit agreement with the Bills. I'm on that committee with 2 other legislators. And also, we have a tremendous fund balance, $169 million. 17 years ago, when I was elected to this position, fund balance of $6 million came off the red-green budget. So it's been a real challenge to have all that money in the bank and trying to herd all the cats looking for money for this and that. So it's been a real challenge. I can't tell you how difficult it's been. I was fortunate enough to I'll get some of that money to have consultants hired to help with our engineering department at DPW. And maybe that's pretty good news for the town of Boston residents and certainly for Mr. Telak. Again, it's like watching paint dry, with some of the projects we're trying to do. We finally got an easement for Back Creek Road. It only took 3 years, but we finally have the easement and it's going out to bid this month. So we should start construction in probably late spring of 2023. So Farnham Road, we finally got someone out there to do the ditching for us and do some skid paving. But it's just been a real challenge to get our crews out to do that work for us. I can't tell you how difficult it's been this year. And I don't know where the days have gone, but I turn around, I thought it was June. Now it's October. So they'll be closing the plans, as you know, Bob, and pretty soon. So anyway, I managed to get some money for the town of Boston. We've got $50,000 for the Boys and Girls Club, and I got an additional $2,000 for the town of Boston Library. So that's all good news. Plus, my company donated some hot dogs for the fundraiser they had back in the park here. So, bear with me. I got tons of stuff here. I organized a little bit, but the community benefit group I'm involved in. Okay, it's basically trying to get the bills to agree to dollars over the next 30 years, every year, to come back into Erie County and basically the Western New York, but certainly Erie County, to offset the impact that that stadium is going to have on the residents. It's going to be a beautiful facility. I haven't seen the final plans yet, but they'll be up probably published right after the election. I think the governor's holding back until after the election. It's going to be a very modern, technologically, piece of equipment that's going in. It's the last one. I happened to be around for the last stadium when it was built. I was with the U.S. Gypsum Company at that time, and I walked through that hole in the ground when they were constructing that. Now that's 50 years ago. This will be designed probably for a 40-year function. So, I've had a lot of constituents call me, and especially the Bills Mafia, saying we're in favor of this facility. But then there's other people that say that's a hell of a lot of money to spend. It's up to just over 1.5 billion now. It picked up 100 million more just in the cost of goods over the last year. So hopefully we'll be breaking ground in spring of 2023. The seeker study should be done by the end of this year. So we should break ground next year and be playing in that facility in 2026. So that's the timetable we're looking at. Having said that, I think I keep telling the residents and my colleagues, we're only get one bite at the apple in this deal, okay? With the stadium and with all the money coming down from the federal government with the pandemic, okay? We're going to have one bite at that apple, and we got to be very conscious of what we're doing. We got to make sure those dollars are spent in the right places. Infrastructure is so important to Erie County. We got to make sure we focus on that. I think I've got the county executive convinced of doing that more aggressively. We're going to put $80 million in the Southtown Sewer Treatment Agency, the plant that sits on Lake Erie Shores out there, Woodlawn. Those are good. They're not real sexy things, but the pipes in the ground are so important to the future of the residents of Erie County, and those are the good things that are happening. But I struggle personally with how we get these things accomplished over the next couple of years, because it's going to run out. The other good thing that's happening besides that sock of money we have is that our sales tax revenue is very, very strong. It's unbelievably strong because of the price of fuel going up and things like that. So, and now the Canadian border is opened up, so our Canadian friends are coming over, going to spend more money. So these are all good things. So it's a rah-rah positive speech I'm giving today, but the devil's in the details. We've got to get these things out the door and into the communities where they belong. That's some of that money that's being spent out there is coming back, and it's your taxpayers' money. Just like that, the money coming from federal government, we all pay federal taxes, we pay state tax. All that's coming back to the residents, which is good, a good thing. Well, we got to manage it properly, and if we don't manage it properly, shame on us. We'll go the same way that tobacco settlement went 30 years ago. We had $300 million, and 20 years later, we wound up having less than 20 years later a red-green budget. So it has to be managed properly. So that is about all I have to say. Any questions of the board members or the audience?
Last year when you were here, we talked about the culvert underneath Boston State Road at Hillcroft.
Spring of 2023 for sure.
Oh, okay. Yes,
For sure. I got that almost in writing, Bob, but for sure. It should have been done this year.
Has anything been done up on Zimmerman Road to stop that problem with the icing? I don't know if they did anything up there or not, but I'm just curious.
I got a list from the supervisor. I think that's something they're going to, what they say to me is that we're going to do the road paving first and then move on to other issues, smaller issues. So hopefully that'll be addressed before we get some bad weather. But then again, you've been around for a while,
Bad
what
weather
happens
sometimes.
sometimes.
Right.
We're working on it.
We are. Well, I'll add on to that. I did reach out to Joe Donnellan and Commissioner Geary and Deputy Commissioner Hoke. I'd have to pull up my email, but it's roughly about a week ago at saying, being proactive, what's going on. Because after we had all that rain, when the road did dry up, I'm sure that's probably why you're asking, you could see the water already permeating up through the road. It's not long before that cold weather and the snow and ice starts coming in and affecting the drivers. I said, what's the status of this? Because and I agree with Bob, we haven't heard anything yet so far on that. So and just as you stated, he said that now that the paving's done, they're going to start trying to tackle projects. So that's what we were told as well.
You know, my girl was in my office, Colleen. We follow up on this every single week. I sit with her and we go through my list of projects and requests from the residents. And Karen Hoke knows us very, very well by now. And of course, Bill Gary does too. We should go on a road tour with Bill possibly in about 2 weeks. But we've been relentless about emailing these people and just driving them crazy.
Yep.
That's what it takes to make it work. I mean, I spent 22 years as a councilman in the town of Orchard Park, and I can tell you this would never happen in Orchard Park or the town of Boston. At the local level, we seem to perform much better.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm not going to say it's personnel, but I'm sure it's part of the problem. Maybe it just can't be managed properly. I don't know. I mean, there's something there that's going wrong every single year for the 17 years I've been in county government. I mean, I just can't get these people to push ahead in this stuff. And we're giving them some more people, some consultants. I don't want to hear from the word no from them in 2023. Really don't, because we're packing them pretty tight and pretty fund balance wise. We're putting a lot of money into infrastructure. So I'm hoping, we come across with an aggressive program, especially for the town of Boston. Of any of the towns I represent, which is 15 towns and villages, this particular town needs the most work on infrastructure because it's been put off for so many years. And you know as well as I do, Bob, if you don't take care of your roads, you're going to pay more later than you would if you took care of them now. So,
I just have one more thing.
sure.
It's good to see you here for one thing. But the other thing is on Back Creek Road, if you go down Patchen Road and you make the right on Back Creek Road heading towards Zimmerman, down about a half mile, there's a really bad sinkhole that was there this spring, and they had a cone setting in a couple times. Well, after that big rain we had, there's a really nasty sinkhole right along the shoulder of the road that should be addressed fairly soon.
Okay.
But that's all I have. Thank you.
I will absolutely address that tomorrow. We have session at the legislature. I will be talking to Bill Gary personally about it because I don't want him to take a position where, we're going to redo that road in the spring of 2023. So let's let it go. I don't want to hear about that. Let's patch it and get it taken care of now and then do the right thing with that road in 2023. So I have. I understand it's going to be total reconstruction. That's what I've been told. 2023.
Yeah.
Design work's completed. The bids are going out this month.
This month, right?
Very good. So, very good. Thank you. That's right. That's high on the agenda. I can tell you that. Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome, Mr. Mills. You should also be able to see that on the county website because once that bid goes public, it'll also reflect us there as well. Yep. Nope. Well positioned. Any other comments? Okay, I'll close the floor. Moving along, we've already accomplished item number 200, which was the public hearing. So item 3 is to schedule a public hearing for the 2023 tentative budget. As a town supervisor, I'll read this public notice. So this is a public notice for the town of Boston, notice of hearing upon the tentative budget. Notice is hereby given that the tentative budget of the town of Boston for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2023 has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk, where it is available for inspection by any interested persons during regular hours. Further notice is hereby given that that Boston Town Board will hold a public hearing to review said tentative budget at the Boston Town Hall, 8500 Boston State Road at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Prevailing Time on October 19th, 2022. And at such hearing, any person may be heard for or against the tentative budget as compiled or any items contained therein. Pursuant to Section 103 of Town Law, the proposed salaries for the following elected town officers are supervisor, $43,440, town clerk, $53,176, 4 councilmen at $9,555, superintendent of highways at $76,052, 2 town justices at $21,277. An exemption report is also available. This was dated September 30th, 2022, published October 7th, 2022 by order of the town board. Sandra L. Quinlan, town clerk. And again, this institution is an equal opportunity provider and employer. I'd like to make a motion to schedule that public hearing.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item number 4 is Resolution 2022-68 for the Justice Court Assistance Program, also sometimes heard as the JCAP program. Councilwoman Selby, would you like to take that item?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-68 for the Justice Court Assistance Program, whereas we are authorizing the Town of Boston Justice Court to apply for JCAP grant for the 22-23 grant cycle, up to $30,000, which includes various technology equipment for the courtroom, including camera and cables, and much needed equipment for our courtroom. I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item number 5 is Resolution 2022-69, authorizing payment of invoice for water line permit fee. And Councilwoman Martin, would you like to take that item?
Yes, Supervisor. Resolution number 2022-69 is authorizing payment for an invoice for waterline permit fee. We have contracted with Labella to provide professional architectural and engineering services for the construction of the new restroom and pavilion at North Boston Town Park. It was discovered that water service to the restroom would need to be upgraded, and a change order did not include the $2,300 fee required by Erie County Water Authority for installation of the portion of the new water service within the right of way. I make a motion to approve this increase of $2,300 and reimburse Labella.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Moving along. Item number 6 is Resolution 2022-70 for unpaid water bills to be added to the tax roll. And Councilman Curtis, would you like to take that item?
Thank you, Supervisor Keating. I'd like to make a motion that we pass resolution number 2022-70, which adds 2 addresses to the tax roll for unpaid water bills.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Item number 7 is Resolution 2022-71, additional refuse charges to be added to the tax roll. Councilwoman Selby, would you like to take that item?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-71, whereas we have additional refuse charges for various residents in the town of Boston, and they need to be added to the tax roll, and they're indicated on this resolution. And I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item number 8 is Supervisor Keating's request to attend the Association of Towns Annual Conference. And Councilman Curtis, would you like to take that item?
Sure. So the town board has received a request by Supervisor Jason Keating to attend the Association of Towns Annual Conference in February of 2023. And I'd like to make a motion that we approve this.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating.
Abstain as applies directly to me.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Item number 9 is the application for use of facility for the summer concert series for 2023. Councilwoman Martin, would you like to take that item?
Yep, we received an application for use of facility for the Town of Boston Summer Concert Series by our event coordinator. There are a list of dates attached for that with rain dates. starting in July. Requesting to use the Boston Lions shelter with bathroom facilities and, of course, the parking. I make a motion to accept this application for use.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And item number 10 tonight under new business is the application for use of meeting facility for the HEAP event. And Councilwoman Selby, would you like to take that item?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We have a use of facility meeting application for the HEAP organization from Legislator John Mills' office, indicating January 18th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the outreach in the courtroom. I'd like to approve this use of facility.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Cardicini,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. We have no old business tonight, so we'll move on to reports and presentations. Highway Superintendent, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. The highway department has wood chips available. Anybody wants wood chips, fill out a sheet. Be glad to deliver them. We're also going to have a lot of leaves. Anybody wants leaves this year, same thing. They can fill out a sheet. Other than that, the brush pile that's been behind the highway barn for the last 15, 20 years, most of it got removed today. They'll finish removing that tomorrow. Other than that, the salt barn is just about totally filled up. We've gotten 500 and some tons so far delivered. We got it mixed up with sand and salt. The one half the barn, the other half the barn is just pure salt. So the barn's almost totally full. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Councilwoman Selby, you have the floor.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Legislator John Mills for coming out tonight. It's always nice to see you, and we appreciate your time and keeping us updated and working for the town of Boston. I know Bob's very appreciative that, we get our areas covered, and it's always good to get those updates. Last week, I attended a NEST meeting with Supervisor Keating, and we learned a lot about solid waste management and recycling. So that was very informative, and thank you for the invite.
You're most welcome.
I've been tying up some loose ends with Pat Martino with waste management. A couple straggling areas still have some concerns. Working with Sandy, thanks for your hard work, Sandy, and we're hopefully getting this completed as best as we can, and the winter months isn't going to throw us off too bad, hopefully. But besides that, that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Thank you very much. Councilman Cardicini, you have the floor.
I have nothing to report tonight.
Okay. Councilwoman Martin.
I have nothing to report either.
All right. Easy enough. Madam Clerk, you have the floor.
Came rather quickly tonight. Okay.
Right down the line.
We have so far had a very successful year with our hunting license sales. The first round of the doe management permits, the sales of those did end on October 1st. So when the leftovers are released by the DEC, those will be available in my office. And if you want to, you just come in, stop in, see if they've released them yet, or give us a call and we will let you know. Yesterday's Connect Life blood drive was also a great success, like it always is here in Boston. 16 whole blood units were collected and 3 double reds, a total of 22 units that help save the lives of 66 local patients. The next blood drive is November 1st, right here in the community room. Rabies Clinic is sponsored by the Erie County Department of Health in Buffalo on Saturday, October 8th. That is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You do need to call the health department to register for that. And that is for dogs, cats, and ferrets. The St. John's Roman Catholic Church will be having their annual turkey dinner on Sunday, October 9th from 11:30 until they are sold out. And as you had heard tonight, the HEAP outreach was approved here for Boston. That is scheduled through Mr. Mills' office. They're always wonderful to work with. So I always appreciate that when I call Mr. Mills' office that his staff is available. So that is always wonderful to work with him. And there will be other HEAP outreaches in our local communities also starting in December and then through the month of January. We did receive calls already regarding HEAP. That registration actually does not open through Erie County until November 1st, and you would need to do that directly with the HEAP office if you wanted to apply for that sooner. I know this is, going to be, I would think, rather popular this year with the rising costs of the gas and the electric. So that is actually all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Just a couple items tonight. As Councilwoman Selby, she had stated that the Nest event, there's potentially some additional changes coming down the pike with the New York State DEC regulations. This year, there's the banning of styrofoam packaging, but now one of the additional fees that's out there is for latex paints, so that you're essentially paying for that. Think about almost like a bottle return fee of sorts. You pay for that deposit fee to try to recuperate that back and to incentivize to bring back the bottle. Now for paint, there's a fee already baked into the cost of your can of paint when you go out to paint the walls in your house, let's say. So that's part of the recycling program. There's many different, essentially almost like motor oil. If you sell paint, you're required to take that back. Also, just out to the residents, the town does work with Waste Management for the Waste Management at Your Door program. So if you don't want to take it back to a store, you can call the 1-800 number that's out on the town website to schedule your pickup for your either oil-based, latex, or other paints, and all of that will be picked up and taken away. Some of the other things we discussed was the commodity market, such as plastics, or the value of plastics, glass, papers, where that's headed. Glass right now is a very tough market. Plastics for your number 3s and number 4s, that's actually been a struggling market for a little while. Waste Management is one of the few organizations that does actually recycle those. Not going to bring up other names, but there's other organizations that do not. Those go into the landfill. But that's just some of the high level stuff that we had discussed. But they, the Nest organization that I've been part of since I was actually a councilman, it's been a great resource for the town board. So I'm glad Councilwoman Selby was able to join me for that. There's always a lot of good information there. Just a friendly reminder that the town hall will be closed on this coming Monday, October 10th. And then also there will be a budget presentation at Town Hall on October 12th at 7 p.m. in the community room downstairs. Now that we're past that COVID hurdle, look to hopefully have some folks attend that and see what we have in the tentative budget. And then the last item that I have is that the Erie County Sheriff's Office had reached out to a number of people, and I had signed up for the Erie County Sheriff's Citizen Police Academies. They brought it back after a long kind of hiatus, and Sheriff Garcia has brought that back. It was well attended. They're hoping for more people, but again, with the kind of the flux of COVID and all going on, we think that's why there wasn't a whole lot of interest. But I'm kind of putting that out there, though. If please watch subsequent years. They do plan on having this as an annual type program, letting the public know. The schedule's quite impressive. Everything from the holding center to operations, the administration. Really, it's a really wholesome program. It looks like it's going to be a great time. So there's a few other elected officials, representative from the Buffalo Common Council, some other civic leaders that are in that program. So I think it'll be a good, well-rounded program that the sheriff is offering the community. So I encourage residents to watch the Erie County Sheriff's website and please sign up for it in future years, and I'll be happy to share information as I go through the program. Again, I'd like to thank the board for the approval for attending the Association of Towns annual program. It's always a good time down there, and we'll see how that goes. There's always a lot to learn, and try to bring whatever knowledge I learned down there back here to the town of Boston. And that's all I have for tonight. So I will make a motion to end the meeting at 8:12 p.m.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Selby,
Yes.
Councilman Curtis,
Yes.
Supervisor Keating,
Yes.
Councilwoman Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.